Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Excuse me.
Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Try defining, explain to a kid today between soul, R&B, funk, really hard to explain. For example, and you would know this as a percussionist, Brazilian versus Latin. You know, Santana versus, let's say, Sergio Mendes or something. It's, you know it when you hear it, but you can't explain it. I was explaining about different words that we use to describe insults. And I was explaining, if you had to explain to somebody, I can't tell you now, but explain gradations of things. For example, hate, despise, abhor, detest. What do they mean? What's the difference? There's a difference between them. What's worse than the other? You were going to say something, Mr. Blaze.
Taking drum lessons as I did and learning different beats, different styles. I'll just never forget, it took me, I was 13 and it took me months to be able to get the coordination to play a bossa nova beat.
Right.
Months. Because you're so used to the 4/4.
Right.
Just, dun, cha, dun, dun,
right.
Cha, to bossa nova was ta, ta, dun, ta, dun, dun, ta, dun, dun, ta. And the coordination of that took me weeks to be able to do it.
I am fascinated by, have you ever seen somebody who doesn't have rhythm, who can't, it's like, just give me a beat, just snap your fingers on time. You have an internal regulator. You can tap, like I play the guitar and I tap a foot. I don't even know I'm doing it. It's just, and you could say, was it your heartbeat? I don't know. But there is something that goes, there is a meter that goes on. That's why kids have to learn music. Not as it's a part of math. And when you get into chords, you can't do too many chords with drums. But it's about minor versus major, and this is everything, up a beat, up the tonics and all. It's mathematics.
And the timing. That's the other thing with me. Like, because of being a drummer, I'm very aware of timing and sync and things like that. So when I'm watching TV, the first thing I notice is if the voice, the sound, and the movement is off at all. I can tell immediately, and it drives me crazy. If there's sometimes with the signal, a TV signal, even with streaming sometimes, or sometimes something's wrong and it's not synced right.
I want to take you to some movie where this is also overdubbed and strap you in.
I can't watch overdubs.
Just strap you in.
If the movie's not in English, I can't watch it.
Well, that's a good one, and there's no subtitles. You know, true story. You know the song. What was it called? Not Innisbrook. It was the. Oh God. It was the Stevie Van Zandt movie where he went to Lillehammer.
Oh, that was a show.
Lillehammer.
Yeah.
Do you know? True story. I don't know why I didn't think this, because they were doing half English and half, Icelandic or whatever it was. And I didn't realize that I had the option on my phone to do, or my TV to do overdubs. And I'm watching it. And I understood. I was like, I said, I felt so stupid. I said, this would be a lot better. I love the idea, but I don't know enough Icelandic, but I kind of get what's going on. And then one day I said, what is that? They said, what? That's the translation key or whatever you want to call it, the subtitles. How long do we have that on there? You mean I've been watching this? And I was watching it, and I didn't realize because I don't use cable. I've got all these clickers. Do you ever roll over in bed and all of a sudden the TV goes on and it's like, what is this? But let me go back and think. Let me go back. This is very, very critical, I think. What's so interesting to me about music, about just beat, is imagine there 4 for each bar. There's a fence post, and you're driving along, bump, 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 bump. Within that, I can go crazy, so long as I end at the right, and then I can be ahead of the beat, behind the beat. As long as you can be. It's okay. You can get to the station early, as somebody explained to me, but don't wait too late. You've got to be. You can be ahead of the beat all you want. But within that syncopation range, I can go nuts. I can go crazy. Whatever it is, as long as I see, and you know when somebody is off. What about click track? Have you ever heard the arguments about Rick Beato as do you click track? Oh, no.
A lot of drummers now play with a click track in their ear, especially live.
Yeah.
If you notice, if you listen to old concerts,
they're off.
They're off because you naturally will play faster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same as the record. It's faster than the record. Because I was watching an old, like a Kiss video or something of Kiss. And I forget what song they were playing, but they showed like, here they are in 1977 or whatever it was. And they're playing the song really fast. And then they go, here they are in 1997. Right. And they're playing it like the record because now they're playing to a click track. And I have a metronome. It's specifically made for that. You put it in your ear and it keeps you on beat. And when you first start playing with it, it's very hard. You don't realize how off you are.
Yes.
And how faster, and I go, this sounds too slow. I'm like, it sounds too slow. And I'm like, no, this is the tempo of the song.
Once you've started and you've committed to it, you can't just say, all right, I'm going to speed it up now. No, my bad. Okay, go. It'll be gradual, kids. Here we go. That's more like it. You can't speed up in the middle of it to catch up with it.
Yeah, I remember being like in school in marching band, and if we were playing too slow, and then our band teacher would be like,
Right,
like
yeah.
You'd make the sign like, come on, pick it up. Because
we
were playing too slow.
You cannot teach. Again, you're punctuating. You take nothing, and you punctuate it with these signatures, these little these little fence posts. Out of nowhere, and in your mind, you can hear it. You can hear this thing. When you're in a band, if you're playing something. Also, music is so important. Guitar, acoustic, forget electric. I don't know about electric. But acoustic is one of the few that you hold, they said, like a woman. You hold it against you. It's a different thing. Everything else is away from you. Piano, drums, trumpet, it's away from you. You know, you're going to keep it away. Electric, but the best part about it is an acoustic guitar. If you don't play it, you could take a beautiful vintage, you could take a 1920 Martin Dreadnought D45, leave it in the case, don't touch it, and get another one that's been played for 50, 60 years that's banging around. The difference, the way the wood breathes, it's like, they still can't figure out the Stradivarius. Still can't figure out.
Well, it's the wood, it's how it's kept, and like a lot of guys that are guitarists that have these big guitar collections, they keep them like a dehumidifier to make sure that the air quality is right because the wood can warp. Like I know my drums that I've had since I was 13. I never ever got another drum set. I had the same set since I was 13. The only thing I changed was about 15 years ago. I decided to start playing again. I had a band for a little while. I changed my snare. I got like a pearl snare, so the snare was better. But I always liked the sound of my drums, even though they weren't any big brand name. But now, for the last 15 years, they've been in cases in my attic that gets cold and hot and cold and hot. And I'm like, what is this going to do to the wood of my drums? But you reminded me when you were talking about the posts and hearing the beat and you just when you the rhythm. And this story, so Billie Eilish, her brother is her producer, Phineas, and for her song "Bad Guy," which was like her huge monster big hit that introduced her, when the chorus part comes on and she goes, "I'm a bad guy," and has that whistle, this is talking about hearing things. He was in Australia, and when you cross the street, you hit the button for the light to change, and it makes this clicking noise. And he heard that and recorded it. And that's the hi-hat sound of the chorus in the song Bad Guy. Because he heard that in his head when he was waiting to cross the street. He was like, there's a rhythm in that.
Jive talking about the Bee Gees. They were traveling over a bridge in Miami. And when you drive something, sometimes you hear tick, 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 tick. It was the sound that the different partitions of the pavement made. That was Jive talking. There's a song, Going Home. It's Pat Metheny. And you hear it and you say, that's a train. Even though people said, one friend of mine said, and I've never been on a train before, but I know that's a train. It's a stair.
The stuff the Bee Gees did. Did you ever see that documentary on the Bee Gees on HBO when they showed there was the first drum loop of taking a drum part and looping it over and over again for Staying Alive? And they showed it was like this room,
right?
And they had all these different wheels, with the tape going across the entire room, in order to loop the drum beat. Well, it was the first time they ever did that.
You know what else they did was they took Money by Pink Floyd, was kind of like that. But watch the documentary on I'm Not in Love by 10cc. So what they did was they took every note. So you say, and some poor guy's got to sit there, longer, okay, you got to, then I bring in you, put that together. So now he's got 10 voices. Then he goes to a 24 track and he's got like 1,000. So all that, is just them and this Gottlieb and Cream and others. They came up with this, and they had this loop that went around, and they said, "This is barbaric."
It was like all over the whole room, and like because people don't realize nowadays. Look, you put it in once, and you just it just goes on the computer. You loop it, you do whatever you want. But it was when the Sugar Hill Gang did "Rapper's Delight," which they took from Nile Rodgers because he did that. The bass line, it was "Good Times." Dun dun dun. Right. Well, Sugar Hill Gang, people know the Robber's Delight, a hit, hop, that song. That song is 14 minutes long. So you gotta remember, the bass player had to sit there for 14 minutes originally. And now it's like, you just play a phrase and just repeat it as many times as you want.
Well, you've seen people on TV, some busker is outside. He does this, like I of course am a manualist, and this is my regular hand. Let me tune this. This is more of a resonance. There we go. That's a deeper. That'll scare people. If you're in a movie theater and if I come up behind you, talk about back and to the left, it's Dealey Plaza all over again. But and it's an art, by the way. I'm a manualist. Please don't think what you're thinking. But when somebody imagine going back and somebody said, "You mean to tell me that look at this. See this button? Sing it. That's it. Where's the tape?" There is no tape.
I had a 4-track. Okay, so you can record 4 separate tracks on a little cassette. Okay, so it split it into 4 tracks. So the tape plays one way. You can't turn it over. It's one way. It's faster, which means the information sounds better because it's faster. But and I remember, you can actually get 6 tracks, or you can get 7 tracks out of it because you record 3 tracks. Take those 3, record them on the other track. Right. Now you have 3 more open tracks again. So you can record 2 tracks, record those onto 1. Now you have 5. Then you have 2 more. So you can actually get 7 tracks.
Yeah, but they're so garbled.
Oh, yeah, because of the degradation.
And the tape, the metal can't handle this thing. Stop it.
Right. But now you have the most basic music software, unlimited tracks, unlimited instruments that sound plugins they call them that will mimic any instrument, and you would never know the difference.
We will go back in terms of just plain old, and everybody in radio kind of knows this because I didn't do any production. Now I do it with digital, but you would see the great Johnny Donovan, he was such a sick mind. Great guy. But he had those big reel-to-reels that and they're moving it back and forth. And he has a razor blade. And he's got to cut it and put tape on the... I say, this is the most barbaric... Even then I'm saying, is this it? Then I was there when digital happened. And now you can watch. And you know, 3, 2, 1, making all kinds of noises and... I can find it. Just wait. Oh, there you are. You paused here. Just pause. I can see it. Everybody does it. It's nothing new. But the technology still. There's the story that always comes along that says, "Yeah, but vinyl's making a comeback." It's not making a comeback. Vinyl is not. Maybe some guy outside. The first time you say, "Hey, you want to hear Pink Floyd?" Just a minute. Let me see. Beep, beep. Oh, here it is. Take it out. Disc washer. Blow the dust off. Put it on the turntable. Maybe get a zero stat gun. Remember that one? It's taking 20 minutes just to cue it up. Forget that.
And there are still people that will insist that vinyl sounds better. And this happened with DJing as well, where people will say, well, you're not a real DJ if you didn't use turntables and if you weren't able to beat match by ear, because now you just hit a button and it just syncs the tracks together. And you can remember there was the pitch slider on the turntable. Mm-hmm. So you can make the record go a little faster. But of course, if you made it go faster, it started to speed up and it sounded like a chipmunk. Right. Well, now with digital, you could speed it up but keep the pitch the same. Right. So you can mix things that back in the day you could never mix. And the argument was always, well, I don't use sync. I beat match by ear. I do this. And to me, it was the same argument with vinyl sounds better. And I said, listen, if we would have had the digital DJing 30 years ago, we would have used it. The only reason you're saying this now is because that's what we did, we did it because that's all we had.
Imagine going to a surgeon and saying, let me tell you something, bloodletting and leeches. You listen to me. Right. That's what we had. And
I'd say, well, you drive a car, right? You don't ride a horse to go from place to place.
We had a Stanley steamer, by God, and I had 4 on the floor. And yeah, I know. See, nostalgia... For the sake of nostalgia doesn't make any sense to me. There are some things that are still better. But there are some things you want to play acoustic piano? Knock yourself out, Mr. Digital. Go ahead. You want to put a click track on that? Great. Play it. Acoustic guitar, violin, some things you can kind of play around with. Not that one. There's something about this.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.